When the things we care so deeply about are endangered, we become so enraged. And what a healthy thing that is. Without it, we would not be able to stand up and speak out for what we believe. Fred Rogers, better known as Mr. Rogers. My speech today is dedicated to Mr. Rogers. Today I will tell you about his emotional intelligence, his uniqueness, and his dedication. The show Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood is a show about emotional intelligence. It covers a wide range of topics that involve emotional situations, how to handle them, and their solutions. Mr. Rogers played a large part in the show's not just display, but also its production. It would surprise many people to find out that Fred Rogers was not just a TV host who was handed a script and told to act, that he was an integral part of the show's creation. In an interview with his wife on ABC News, it was discussed that the show ran for 33 years, which is a very long time. People change, audiences change, society changes, the world changes. But Mr. Rogers stayed, because emotions don't change. They just come and go. 33 years is a long time. Many people will be surprised that they were not interested in finding a replacement for Mr. Rogers, because there is no one else in the world like him. He was truly one of a kind. Those who knew him, worked with him, and watched him could see that. In an interview with the newspaper The Keene Sentinel, Mr. Francois Clemens, also known as Officer Clemens on the show, talked about the profound effect that working with Mr. Rogers had on his life. It gave him a new sense of how to view the world and treat himself and others with kindness, and he still carries himself with that in mind today. Mr. Clemens is far from the only person who carries Mr. Rogers in their heart with them every day. Mr. Rogers invokes this sense of dedication and devotion unlike anybody else. And it's not hard to see why. He was a very positive force of change in the world. His dedication to what he was sharing with the world was truly inspirational, because when it was threatened, he stood up and spoke out in order to defend it. In 1969, Mr. Fred Rogers spoke to a Senate committee in order to convince them to provide more funding for childhood educational programming on television. There are lots of news articles and videos online where you can watch and see just how incredibly he handled the situation. And as of right now, I'm using the article from the news website called Upworthy, but there are many options to choose from. The best way I can describe it is like a movie. You can see a young Fred Rogers standing before a hardened Senator Pastor who looks disinterested and annoyed and shares his passion about why what he does is so important for the children who watch him and their development. And like the Grinch, you can see Senator Pastor's heart soften, and eventually Mr. Rogers convinces him to provide the $20 million in funding. It's incredible. And I think truly speaks to the power of kindness that Mr. Rogers held. In conclusion, it is obvious how highly I view Mr. Rogers and his memory, not just as someone who watched his show, but also as someone who watched all of the shows he fought so hard to save on the Senate floor that day. Today I shared with you Mr. Rogers' emotional intelligence, his indescribable uniqueness, and his dedication to childhood development. I hope that this speech will encourage you to realize your power in the world, because everyone is unique and has the possibility to do incredible things in their life. Mr. Rogers believed that. I believe that. And I hope that you can believe that too. Thank you so much for your time today.